and a board resolution, essentially with the county saying, you know, the RCD is helping to lead this effort. And if anybody wants to see that, let me know. It'll be in the board materials if you follow the Board of Supervisors work. And that'll be coming up either at the meeting on the 4th or meeting on the 19th. So that's one area of formalizing, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And also what has been happening, Tanya's been available to be a lead in communication here, and she is running a lot of this effort here. And so what we have heard has happened in the last month through talking with other community members is that there is a Fire Safe Council starting in the Cape Bay Valley. So you see that there on the map. We have also heard from a group in East Davis that is a fire protection district that wants to start a Fire Safe Council. There are a couple of efforts, I think, going on in the Greater Winters area. We're hoping to, folks are on the line from the Greater Winters area because there'll be a breakout room where you can talk more about what you want to be doing there and get support there. And then also in the Fairfield and Vacaville area, and home hardening and wild, you know, big wild and urban interface. So recognizing efforts that have started that we want to help support in whatever way is appropriate. And then also other efforts as they arise. And one of the things that the RCD is also working on is starting a prescribed burn association to address a lot of the fuels in the hills and with our ranchers primarily, but with anybody who's interested in prescribed burning. So that's something, you know, that is just starting up here. We're working on a CAL FIRE grant for that. If it is awarded, you'll hear a lot, you know, those interested in that will be reaching out, you know, come fall or winter or something like that. I think that there will also be talk of things like Firewise communities from experts on the talking today. And then meanwhile, there are a lot more funds coming to the Yolo County area in terms of wildfire programming. So this is maybe more than you want to know, but there is a USDA grant that the Lake Napa, Solano, Yolo region was awarded with actually with Mendocino and Colusa. So a large region was Yolo County was awarded about a $5 million multi-year grant that is primarily for landowner practices for wildfire mitigation and post-fire recovery. That will hopefully be active in 2 months from now, I would guess. That was just announced on Monday. That's a national program that we were able to get some funding for, primarily for fire breaks, fuel breaks, fuels management, revegetation, erosion control related to post-fire, and those kinds of things. So more on that information. I'll give you more information at these meetings as that program is rolling out. And then I already mentioned the CAL FIRE grant we're working on for the Prescribed Burn Association, but there is also another regional effort that should bring more resources to Yolo County and our region so that we can provide more technical assistance, so that we can bring more financial assistance to community efforts, and so on. So there'll be more to talk about at each one of these meetings. You know, there's a lot going on, and we'll keep you as up to date as we possibly can. All right, I go to the next slide there. This is just a reminder. It's the same slide, pretty much the same slide I shared at our last meeting. Just a reminder of who the stakeholders are in the countywide Fire Safe Council. You know, it's community members, agencies, utilities, first responders, local government, local organizations, tribal interests, county services. This is not a totally, this is just a partial list, but I just, you know, just to remind us of who all is who all is considered stakeholders in the Fire Safe Council. And then I want to just also take a moment to say, interrupt me if you have a question. So this is a little different format. There'll be question and answer in a minute, but you know, I know this is a lot of information. It's new for Yolo County, so please ask questions. I've got one more slide to show you. And it's just a super basic outline about what we're going to be talking about going into the next meeting and so on. So because we're trying hard to have an organized effort without creating a lot more bureaucracy, I guess, is one way to put it. So we're not creating a whole new organization, but we're creating this group. And the sponsor is the County of Yolo. The Yolo County RCD is the coordinator. And we also are going to need a chair and vice chair, which we think should be local fire district chiefs. And then there will also be voting members, and we need to discuss that as a group. In general, this is, you know, being a county kind of agency, organizational, overarching support council, that feel it's important that these are stakeholder representatives and not individuals. So it doesn't mean individuals cannot participate and come to all of our meetings and participate in discussion and influence decisions. It just means talking about that voting membership should be stakeholder representatives, constituent representatives. So we have to discuss it. There'll be a discussion and more of that at the May meeting, where we're gonna have some draft bylaws for this Fire Safe Council. The Yolo County Fire Safe Council is the suggested name for this this group. The purpose, more or less, to collaborate to solve problems, get funding to implement CWPP, the Community Wildfire Protection projects, support community fire safe councils, and then, you know, we need to draft a mission. I'll have a suggestion that we can discuss, and then get into like some more discussion. I have some draft simple bylaws, I hope, that we can just, you know, discuss and start to get a little bit of structure. And the reason why we would need a voting members would be to vote on which project to do first, or to support a project, you know, as a fire safe council, and that sort of thing. So I didn't want to go into any more detail on that, but I wanted to give you sort of just an illustration of kind of where we're headed here. I actually would like to go ahead and I know there are several fire chiefs on the line today, and I wanted to ask for volunteers of local fire chiefs that may be interested in serving, doing more work. Hopefully it won't be too much work for you. We will be doing all of the heavy lifting, but we do need a chair, and would like to take any you know, hand raising or shout outs of who might be interested in volunteering as chair of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council.
Hi, Heather. Brad Lopez, Fire Chief, City of Winters. Can you hear me okay?
Chief Lopez, hello.
Hey, welcome. Thank you. I'd like to nominate Chief Ramirez Yochidehi as chair.
Nomination of Chief Rebecca Ramirez from Yochidehi Fire Department. Are you on the line?
I am on the line, and I'd like to give the favor back and nominate Brad Lopez as the vice chair.
Excellent. So thank you both.
I second both of those.
Thanks, Miguel.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Miguel Watson is also is with CAL FIRE. So maybe we can call this a, you know, these are our interim chair and vice chair, given that we don't have, you know, a official voting body. But I do think the fire districts are one of our key stakeholders here. And so thank you both for being willing to come to these meetings and chair this council. And we'll just, you know, that's all I have to say for today. There'll be a lot more on this. You know, the real idea is to get down to projects that we can get done and work together. So I don't want to like belabor this whole part, but we do want to make sure we have that structure in place and that we know what we're doing as a group. But if anyone has any questions right now, for me or anyone else about this part, please take, I think we have a few minutes in our agenda to answer questions.
Heather, I just want to say thanks for your work on this. And we have a deep bench of great chief officers on this call, from Miguel and Marcus and Curtis and Brad and others that are here. So I'm sure we'll have plenty of people to help distribute the work.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
thank you guys for your service. This is a tough job, fighting fires. Well, it sounds like, Heather, you just gave such a good description. There aren't any questions.
Okay, well, it's an ongoing process, so
Mhm.
looking forward to discussing more.
Great. Okay, I want to make sure no one has any questions. I'm looking at the chat. It's not doing anything. So thank you, chiefs, for co-chairing. That's awesome. And you're right. It's a deep bench of awesome people.
Happy to be a part of it and help out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So now that we've talked about our umbrella Fire Safe Council, and as you can see, that's really coming together. The umbrella is to support the local fire safe councils. So we are switching gears, and we will be telling you folks on the ground in your communities how you can start your own fire safe councils with lots of support from us, of course. So I am going to turn this over to Elizabeth, who's going to talk about with Tracy the keys to starting a fire safe council. Elizabeth, you are muted.
Yes, I was telling myself, you're muted, Elizabeth, get unmuted. Get it together. You would think after over a year of Zoom, I would remember that, but
Oh, that happens to the best of
anyway,
us.
it does. It does. So as Tanya said, I'm Elizabeth Lamar, and I'm with the California Fire Safe Council. We're a statewide nonprofit, and we're here to support countywide community fire safe councils, whether you're starting a fire safe council, whether it already exists. Our job is to help support you with capacity building and technical assistance, and we have funding that funnels through our organization as well. So feel free to lean on us and pick our brains and come to us for assistance. Today we're talking about starting a fire safe council in your community. And what's great about the model that's being set up here is you have this countywide fire safe council that is your umbrella agency, and you have your own fire safe council in your community, but it's almost like a chapter of the county fire safe council. And so there's a lot of support, a lot of peer learning opportunities and mentorship opportunities just within your own network. We all know that we live in California and there's fire, right? There's some people say, oh, that's how it is. There's not much we can do about it, but there's a lot we can do about it. It's a boots on the ground, neighbor to neighbor, shoulder to shoulder effort to make our communities, to create fire adapted communities. We can't guarantee that your community is safe from fire, but we can sure work as hard as we can to adapt your community to be as safe as possible. And so what's one of the ways to do that is to form a fire safe council. And it's, for some folks, that sounds really overwhelming. It sounds like there's a lot to it. It's a daunting task, and it's really not. It's certainly something that takes time. It takes dedication and collaboration and patience. And did I mention time? It's going to take time. But working together, you can form this group of people who are all dedicated to the same cause. And that starts with planning. As with anything, it starts with planning, just sitting down at a table or on a Zoom meeting, as we do nowadays, with those planning tools and that pencil and paper, and talking about how you want to start this organization. Again, you have this umbrella organization for support, so that's great. That can give you a step ahead. Your first step is to build that core group of leaders. It can be just a few of you that are the spark plugs. You're the ones who really want to get this going. So you've got your core team of leaders, and then building onto that. and bringing together those that you know who have the skills and talents and dedication and knowledge that are going to help to bring your Fire Safe Council, help it to grow, help it to be successful. So how you build this core team of leaders depends on your vision for your organization. You don't have to become a 501c3 to be a Fire Safe Council. Especially in a situation like this, where you have this umbrella organization. You have the Yolo County Fire Safe Council, RCD, that can be your fiscal sponsor. So that's a huge chunk of time and dedication and patience that you don't have to really spend there if that's not something you want to do. It's not a requirement to be a Fire Safe Council. You don't have to do the 501c3. You can structure it the way you want to. It's a collective decision of your core group members. Sometimes Fire Safe Councils are simply a steering committee or a leadership team. We have some HOAs that serve as a Fire Safe Council within their community. So thinking beyond just, well, I have to buckle down and become a nonprofit agency, that's not always necessary. And whether you do that or not, that will determine what your next steps are. Whether you have to go through the development of bylaws and those kinds of documents, or whether you simply, if you're not going to be a nonprofit, then you're going to come up with your standards of practice or your policies and procedures. And how are we going to move forward? How are we all going to agree that we're going to move forward to form this Fire Safe Council? And then within your Fire Safe Council, you have your leadership, of course. Whether you're a 501c3 or not, you're going to want to have a chairperson or a core leader, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, to do those duties, right? Because you're going to need to hold your meetings, take your minutes, track your money, that kind of thing. Once you've figured those steps out, who's our leadership team? Who's going to take leadership roles within that leadership team? How are we going to build that team and bring people together, whether that's people who specialize in communications or grant writing or project management, just to mention a few of those things. Then you can establish some teams, teams that are going to work as sort of subcommittees that can help you. So just because you're the core leadership team doesn't mean you're doing all the work. In fact, I always like to say that the person who's the chairperson of a team kind of has the job of just managing everybody else and making sure everybody else does their job. So you're going to build these teams, whether that's going to be your communications, education, and outreach team. You find a leader for that team, whether that's somebody from your core leadership team or somebody else who's willing to come in and be a leader. They build a subcommittee, a sub-team, and they're going to implement that work. You're all going to plan together. You're all going to come up with in your documents that you develop, a strategic plan of sorts. So you're all going to stay on focus on that, but you've got a team that's dedicated to doing that work. And you've got a team that's dedicated to your projects or your chipping program or that shaded fuel break you're going to put on. So think about how you can kind of delegate the work and disseminate that work. Because to be honest, as you know, with any volunteer organization, burnout is huge. Because again, it takes time and dedication. And so you want to be able to spread the wealth and share the responsibilities as much as you can. And the key to doing that effectively is to stay in communication with each other, holding regular meetings, talking to each other, emailing each other, doing more Zoom calls, someday being able to meet in person, proving that we all do wear regular pants and not yoga pants and sweatpants all day long. That we actually have legs that we walk on and we're not just in chairs wheeling ourselves around. But having those opportunities to work together and to spread some of that wealth is key to staying away from that burnout factor and to being an effective Fire Safe Council in your community. So kind of as a wrap up to that planning, it's just bringing together all those skills and talents and sharing the responsibility, right? Then we're going to get to, you've got this planning done. You've planned, you've got your strategic plan, you've got your standards of practice, you've got your team put together. Now it's time to do some work. Now it's time for boots on the ground. And some of the planning and reevaluating is going to happen all the time. It's an organic thing. There's always going to be things that come up. While this is all happening, you can be starting with your communications and your education and your outreach. You can put together a website. You can put together some mailing materials. You can have a community meeting, whether that's live or virtual or both, or one of each. You want to talk to the community about what it is you're doing, who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. And the most important of that is the why. Why are we doing this? So you can do those kinds of meetings and events and social media posts and reaching out to folks and letting them know that you're there and that this is important and why it's important. There's a lot of talk about risk assessments, community wildfire protection plans. I know that Heather mentioned that earlier, that they're doing a countywide. So not every fire safe council in their community has got to do a CWPP. You do need to know what your risks are. You need to know what your priority projects are. So what's your highest hazard severity zones? Where are the big problem areas? Is it evacuation? Is that what you really need to focus on? Is it defensible space and home hardening? What's your highest priorities? And then create a plan. So you've gone through your communications plan of letting everybody know who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. Now you've got this risk assessment done. You know what your high priorities are. You can start to meld that communications plan into including that information as well. So it all kind of works together. Your planning's gone into communicating, which has gone into figuring out what needs to be done. And the next step is actually implementing some of those projects, applying for funding, looking for opportunities to partner with local agencies and other nonprofit organizations, other fire safe councils, to find ways to get that mitigation and prevention work done. I know at the California Fire Safe Council, we are focused on community protection. So working from defensible space of your home and home hardening of your home to your neighborhood, to your community, to those fuel breaks and evacuation routes. So you can keep that in mind. There's lots of funding opportunities out there and there's more coming. The governor's budget includes a lot of money for wildfire prevention. So be looking for those opportunities. Sign up for every newsletter you can to find out what the funding opportunities are. We try at the California Fire Safe Council to run all funding opportunities through our website. So you can go to our website, cafiresafecouncil.org, and we'll let you know about that as well. Sign up for our newsletter. You'll get newsletters about it. That's a really quick overview. And I have a handout that I gave to Tanya and she can get that to you folks. I'm happy to answer more questions. We have a really short little video I want to show you of a recently developed Fire Safe Council and some of the things that they've been able to do that may seem small, but they made a huge impact in their community. And so without further ado, Bell Canyon Fire Safe Council. Don't think we have sound.
So you can't hear the sound? Because I can.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Oh, rats. Okay, let's see.
Honey, you need to share the sound when you share the screen.
Yeah.
Share sound. All right. Learn something new every day. And Elizabeth, I remember you sent this. Okay, here we go.
You know, we're from Northern California. She said they have a lot of fires down in Southern California. We have to be careful about how far we in because there's only one road in and one road out. So that's why I ended up in this house on Flintlock in Bell Canyon rather than in another house farther inside of Bell Canyon, which can be nice because you get more views. But we decided on this location because we thought it was the lower risk location for fire. So we went along and fat, dumb, and happy until the Woolsey fire in November of 2018. It looked like it was going to miss us. It was going to go to our north or maybe go to our south and not really roll through here. I ended up staying up. It was Thursday night, November 8th, till about 3 in the morning, watching them fight the flames. And we really hadn't lost any homes here yet. But that morning, we got up and I noticed very high flames, 6, 7, 8 foot flames in back of the houses there. Those houses all burned down subsequently. Up at the end of the street, same thing. Another flames on the other side of the house, 6 to 12 feet high, coming in this direction. We lost another 6 houses up there. We met with a fire safe council in Central Ventura County, which didn't even know they existed, didn't know the term. And they explained to us that there was a California Fire Safe Council, that we could form our own fire safe council, and there's things we can do. We could have programs, we can get grants to fund these programs to help defend our communities. At that point in time, a grant opened up from Southern California Edison. So we applied for a $25,000 grant to form an official fire safe council. We were just a group at this point, operating as a committee. And we received the $25,000, and we used that to do a number of projects. We did a community wildfire risk analysis, a very formal plan, which identified the major risks in the community. We bought 9 satellite telephones that are now down at the gate, plugged in all the time for emergency use. We have a CERT team. The CERT team can use them. Agencies can use them if they need it. We also developed a swimming pool identification program. If you drive up and down the street of Bell Canyon, you'll see little blue reflectors on mailbox posts. In the state of California, any firefighter can access any body of water to fight a fire if they need to. They don't need your permission, but they need to know it's there. If you have any risk of wildfire whatsoever, you need to have a fire safe council if you want to do something about it. The Fire Safe Council is a recognized means of organizing a community to take steps to protect the community against the threat of wildfire. It's recognized by the state of California, they're recognized by the federal government, and it's the easiest way to get grant money to support these programs. So if you want to do this and you want to improve your community's ability to survive the risk of a wildfire, you need to form a Fire Safe Council, and you need to educate the community and avail yourselves of the resources that will come to you once you are a Fire Safe Council.
Without further ado, we're a little behind, so we are going to go into our breakout rooms, which Tracy has. Oh, guys. So let me just give you a tiny bit of background. Based on our poll from February, folks said they were interested in building or joining our Fire Safe Council. And there's 10 people from the greater Winters area, including Golden Bear. So that'll be one group. And the sessions will be named, and you choose the one that fits your location best. Capay Valley is another group. And then the Vacaville Fairfield area. And then there was a bunch of folks that were interested in participating but didn't live in any of those areas. But of course, you can join those, the groups that you're closest to. So the breakout sessions will be about 15 minutes, and I'll send a little reminder to bring you back, and then there'll be a little 60-second countdown. So Elizabeth is going to be in the greater Winters area group, and Tracy will be in the Capay Valley, and Rochelle, who spoke last month, will be in the Vacaville Fairfield group. Okay.
I'll go ahead and open the rooms. Here we go. You should all see an option to join a breakout room. Let's see. If you
I
go
have to
down,
scroll down, I
Yeah,
think.
scroll down. Scroll down and jump
Scroll down
in.
through the list, yeah.
let's see now how I can get there. I just can't see how I can get over there because I created them.
Oh,
Let's
well,
see.
so mine says you could join. There should be a little blue join next to the name.
Yeah, that's not what I've got. Let me see. That's kind of a problem.
That is a problem.
Mine just shows the numbers in each. Dang, I'm not sure how to get myself over there. Oh, here we go. Got it.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Tanya, where is the, I'm not seeing any.
Well,
choices.
so there's this little dialog box is what I have. If you scroll down, then your room pops up and then you just hit the little blue join to get you into the right room.
Where's the dialogue box?
Well, it should say breakout rooms in progress. It should have come up. Yours might look different because you're not hosts.
You don't have to go to a chat or anything.
No, it should have just popped up. And oh, you know what? I can assign you guys. How about that? Chris, where would you like to go? Greater Winners?
Sure.
All right. And Jim, do you want to go to Cape Hay?
I guess so.
Okay,
No, it's not.
I'm going to start assigning the people I know. Damon, I'm going to assign you to Cape Hay. Elaine, where would you like to go?
Winters.
Okay, and then Anna, what group would you like to join? And Judy, what group would you like to join?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
now I can
All
hear you.
here. Woohoo.
Apparently the headphones weren't working. I'm the chair of the East Davis County Fire Protection District Board. We're a paper district. We contract with the city of Davis, and we expressed some interest in Fire Safe Council for a number of years now. But my question is, we have about a mile-long stretch of North Putty Creek Channel that is in dire need of annual vegetation management, and it sits on the border between the city and the county. And there's this big kind of push me pull you situation going on that hopefully will be resolved soon. But we basically have a shovel-ready project because we've done it a couple of times, so we know what needs to be done. And I was just curious what our best avenue for trying to get some grant money would be at this point. Probably too late for this year. And we're trying to drum up some interest in the Willowbank area, which is the county area south of this channel, to create some form or fashion of Fire Safe Council, but that's slow going so far.
Hey,
So I'm assuming, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because this is a Greater Winters group and I know they have a ton of interest and we do not have much time, if we could answer that question at the end, Bill, if you wouldn't mind. Because I know there's a lot of folks here who live actually in a place that might burn down. So just in the interest of time.
Works. But bring me back to that question because I have an answer
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
an important one and good. Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Kathleen.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Trepp. I'm the city manager for the city of Winters. And I saw Chris Rose also had his hand up, so I didn't know if he had a question
sorry.
before I did.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. So maybe a silly question, but it's more of a structure question. So we have 3 separate breakout rooms. Are we trying to create 3 separate fire safe councils that will fall under the umbrella and support of the overarching fire safe council for the county that RCD is staffing? So are you all going to staff 3 separate fire safe councils? Is that how is that the structure we're creating?
Tanya, I'm going to let you answer that.
Right. So, you know, we have our umbrella fire safe council of the county,
Right.
and then it's whoever wants to make a community local fire safe council. For example, I think Golden Bear, you know, they have a pretty delineated area, and I think they're going to do their own. That wouldn't, you know, of course they would be in contact with Greater Winters, but yeah.
So we have smaller pockets of motivated
Correct.
residents who are going to create their own initial projects and manage their own initial areas. Okay. And then all of it will sort of get coordinated in a higher fashion through either a Greater Winters or a countywide fire safe council.
Well, as Elizabeth talked about in her earlier presentation, you know, the local groups will be doing all the organizing that she was talking about, but the funding, which is often the hardest part to obtain and manage, will be, you know, that's what the umbrella can help with. But it doesn't mean that's the only way. I mean, you could get your own funding as well.
Right, right. You could seek your own funding and list the RCD as your fiscal sponsor. So you don't really want to, you need your funding for your fire safe council, but you don't have the capacity to actually manage those grant funds and do all that reporting. So that funding, they'll be listed as your fiscal sponsor. The funding will come through them and you will work for them to fund your project to get things paid for.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Maybe, but I'm going to be looking to the chief when we start down this path.
I guess that's kind of my question too, is what identifies these fire safe councils? Is it by jurisdictions, communities? Because I could see for Winters, for example, Golden Bear Estates is one area, one community that has a desire and a need for a fire safe council, but there may be other areas within our jurisdiction or our community that also see a fit for a fire safe council, and how that hierarchy structure works together it would be my question too. Would it make sense to kind of combine those efforts, and then in the sense of communication, coordination?
I have a feeling we're going to figure it out as we go down this path.
And maybe this is when we come together to really figure that out. That may be.
Yeah, I think so. Because it depends on the area, and it depends on the level of cooperation between these different areas of the community. You know, there's power in numbers, but there's also complications in numbers and challenges in numbers. So, you know, it's not necessarily that we're looking to form 500 fire safe councils in Yolo County.
Right.
It's more that we'd like to form effective groups of people. And so if that covers a bigger area, then that's great too. It just kind of depends. It's going to be, there's no cookie cutter, I guess is what I'm saying. And so it's going to kind of depend on what kind of consensus you all come to.
Right. No cookie cutter, and boundaries seem to be an issue. So
boundaries are an issue.
And then the role of the role of the fire safe council board, so to speak, and Chief Lopez will be chair or vice chair, will be then to make sure there's alignment or there's a process for determining resource allocation and those types of things.
Correct.
Yes.
It won't just be willy-nilly.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Looks
Christopher,
like
you had a question. I don't want to miss that.
Yeah, it looks like Tara has a question, and Chris was next.
I'll take mine offline.
It's okay, Chris. You can go.
Oh, it was actually kind of answered in there. It was, you know, dialing in what makes a fire safe council. Can I announce myself as the Chris Rose Fire Safe Council and then request funding to cut down a big tree that's bothering me, you know? So that's going to be part of that process of, you know, how we put a stamp on those fire safe councils to legitimize their area and who they are. And then how soon we can start getting funds to people. You know, it's not out of the realm that this fall would be too late. You know, I don't know. I don't want to speak for Tanya, but you know, when is a fire safe council ready to receive and ready to go and ready to do something? You know, what's that point? That's my question.
Yeah, once again, let us help you. We're helping Yolo County RCD. Let us help you with that part of it. Let's bring in the regional coordinator. There's another program we're introducing with county coordinators. It's going to be another opportunity for somebody to help you with those logistics, because it's a good question. We get groups of neighbors who will call us and say, we have all these eucalyptus trees and we want them cut down. How do we apply for funding? Can we call ourselves a fire safe council? And it's just not that easy. Yeah, it's just not that easy.
Yeah. So I should have said that I'm the executive director of the Solano Resource Conservation District, and we're getting help from Yolo to run a similar process. So we're applying for funds and receiving funds right now. So we're basically going to be cheating off of Yolo, but there's some overlap for sure at our Napa border and our Yolo border.
That's called collaboration and peer assistance and peer learning. It's not cheating. There's no cheating in fire safe councils.
And
like
I think,
that.
Chris, you're a Greater Winters resident as well, so you're wearing multiple hats, right?
There you go.
So I'm not a Greater Winters resident. I work for Yolo County Supervisor Don Saylor, of which Winters is within the district. So my question is still is back to this organizational clarity. It sounds like the Yolo County Fire Safe Council has more of the jurisdictional partners. Makes complete sense for the fire chiefs to be chair and vice chair. I get that they're the fiscal sponsor because the infrastructure is already there to do all the reporting and everything else. So when we're looking at this, the local fire safe councils, I get it, community folks feeding in the project saying, hey, this is the ground truthing on the ground, like this is what our community needs. So are we looking for local volunteers to kind of lead that effort? And so it's less of the institutional partners as part of their day job. This is more like residents volunteering and leading that organizing effort as kind of like like you said, kind of like an HOA in a way, but not even as formal as that. So
it's a community grassroots effort. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're looking.
So you want to bring in those volunteers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, because the community knows their needs the best and they know each other. There's no like, I don't want to drive up to the Cape Valley and knock on doors and try to educate the locals about, you know, what they need to know.
And the CFSC is the same. We're here to help you. You tell us what your needs are. We're a state organization. We don't have any idea what you need in Yolo County or San Diego County, or, you need to tell us what your needs are and how we can assist you. So your community members are the ones who know best what needs to happen in their community. And sometimes that's the biggest challenge, is getting those volunteers together and getting people to step up and take leadership. Yeah. And I'm not one of these people that likes to show people scary pictures and say, this is why, you don't want this to happen to you. Yeah, we know why. We know the why. So it's conveying that. It's conveying that why. And using the terms of fire adapted community as opposed to fire safe, just kind of make sure people know that you're doing everything you can, but that doesn't guarantee that you're not going to have an issue with fire down the road. .357. Okay, we have 2 more minutes. Are there any more questions? Bill, do we want to go back to yours quick?
I feel bad about cutting you off, but I know all these winter spikes are sort of itching.
This was the only place I could go.
Yeah, I know. We didn't give you
40 miles away.
Sorry. We have about 1 minute.
Do you have a minute, or I could take it offline?
Yeah, so we are going to have you can stick around at the end of the meeting because folks will be, we're not going to kick everybody off at 4, but we're just officially closing the meeting at 4.
Great.
Okay, I'm going to close all rooms. Are you guys getting a 60-second countdown?
Yeah.
This is the same group. That's so weird.
Yes, it'd go back to main session, but
I
here we are
know.
again.
Okay, it says that they'll close in 36 seconds. So we'll just.
Oh, that's fine, maybe. We'll just hang out.
Oh, dear. Zoom. It's very unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Tanya, I have another meeting at 4. I have to boogie, but this is great. And I'm seeing that there's a lot of energy. More people want to talk for a longer time. So that bodes well for the future.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, here come the folks.
Here we come.
Yowza. Okay, I think we're all here. That I have to say that was a bit of a roller coaster. A breakout room roller coaster. So it's getting on to 4 o'clock, and I don't want to keep anyone after that. I would like to say that, you know, now you guys have all kind of seen each other. There's going to be more coordinating. I think communities need to reach out to each other. I know that's happening in KPay, and I know they're thinking about it in Winters. The next meeting is May 26th, and that'll also be at 3 p.m. This meeting is recorded and will be on our website, yolorcd.org, and then projects. So that, I think, Heather, do you have anything to add? Am I forgetting anything?
Well, I just want to make sure, you know, if you're forming a fire safe council or group, you know, and there's a, you know, lead, you know, or representative, you know, your community fire safe council will be, you know, as a group will be a voting member, right, on the county-wide fire safe council. So start thinking about that, and who you want that to be, or who wants to be in that role. And, you know, then maybe starting to articulate what priority projects, you know, your entity, you're probably already thinking about that, but just wanted to circle back on how that's going to fit in with the county fire, your efforts are going to fit in with the county fire safe councils. And then also, and Tanya's probably said this to the group she was working with, but you know, we can also help support, you know, the formation of your fire safe council. That's something we can provide some support with. So don't be afraid to reach out to us at the RCD for things you might need.
I was going to add, yeah, reach out to Tanya and I if you have questions about forming your local fire safe council. We can come to your meetings. We're all vaccinated, getting vaccinated now. So let us know. We're happy to come help.
Yeah, I see in the chat that Rochelle has put her contact info. She is a wealth of knowledge and is a fairly new but very active, pretty close fire safe council.
So the next meeting that Tanya mentioned, we are going to be working on, you know, the voting membership of the fire safe council. So I guess that it would be great if you could have somebody designated, you know, as a representative, if you're ready to do that. If you're not, I mean, this is all an evolving process. So, you know, it doesn't mean you can't be a voting member if you don't show up with a person next week. It's just stuff to think about.
Excellent. So I've got contact information here. The meeting can be formally ended if you need to go, but please, if you Elizabeth and Tracy will be available for a few more minutes to answer more questions. I know I cut Bill off and I feel bad about that, but he has an excellent question that you all might want to hear. Bill, do you want to re-ask your question?
Well, the short version is in East Davis Fire Protection District, we have about a mile of North Puda Creek channel that is in serious need of annual vegetation management, and we have a shovel-ready project. And I was curious what the best avenue to get some or attempt to get some grant funding for that would be.
CAL FIRE grants are due in 3 weeks. Now's the time. There's lots of money. I'll put the link in the chat. Grab it.
And Elizabeth, you said you could, yeah, you could answer that one.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're in PG&E territory. Is that correct? Is that your utility provider?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have some funds coming up through PG&E as well through the California Fire Safe Council that'll become available probably in June, latter
Okay.
part of June, for shovel-ready projects.
Okay.
And so if you go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, you will get information about that. Our Forest Service grants are open right now, but for something, I don't know that I would recommend you apply for a Forest Service grant for something like that, but a CAL FIRE grant, PG&E grant, and some other things that we have coming down the road.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions?
Other questions? Yeah.
And now really is the time. May 19th is the deadline for the CAL FIRE grant. There's quite a bit of funding. So if you've already got a project lined out, that you know what you want to do, definitely get a proposal, and the fire prevention grants are not that complicated. And if you don't, that's fine. There's a lot you can do before then.
Tanya,
Yes.
I have a question. Does the fire council, I mean, a lot of what's being done is fuel reduction. In terms of prescribed fires, are there grants that cover prescribed fires? Prescribed fires can be fuel. They can also be used for habitat restoration, which ultimately can result in fuel reduction as well. Will the fire councils be involved with that at all, or do we have to wait for the Prescribed Burn Association to come back?
I can answer that question. If
Yes,
you want,
thank you, Heather.
So we are starting, the Prescribed Burn Association. We're going to help support that. It's going to be starting up later this year. And that's, as a conservation district, and we're always looking to put the conservation lens on the work that we do and that we help support. And certainly there's more than a few objectives, especially when it comes to prescribed fire. So we would like to maximize, as much as possible, that kind of effort, especially around noxious weeds and other beneficial practices that we can build into prescribed fire. So I think, the short answer is yes, absolutely. Anytime we can do beyond fuels management, looking at the big picture, and it all depends on whose property and what the landowner's objectives are, and what they're interested in doing as well. So yes, the short answer is yes, and let's keep talking about it. And then hopefully it's going to take, I think there's a big shift around prescribed burning, meaning there's more support from CAL FIRE, there's more support from our air quality management district in support of this, because they can see that smoke caused by a planned fire is very different from a catastrophic wildfire and that sort of thing. So I think the time is now to really get a program going, and there's a lot of interest with ranchers and property owners to do that work. So we're really going to try to get the equipment needed, get the training needed, both at the RCD and organizations like the Cache Creek Conservancy we're partnering with as well. They're already doing some burning, and cultural, tribal burning, that kind of thing. Cultural burning has interest, any of those things, and trying to meet multiple objectives, I guess, is the lengthy lip service, but true. It would be, we know how to do more than just do fuels management, and I think that we would like to help with that as we move on.
I'm glad you mentioned Cache Creek Conservancy. I'm on their board, and I would really like to see prescribed fire as a method to help restore the riparian forest of Cache Creek.
So our idea is to train landowners interested to do their own burning, train our staff so that we can do burning too, and also Cache Creek Conservancy and the burning that they're doing. So that's kind of our proposal. It's going to be a lot of training. There's a lot of training needed, a lot of capacity to build in that direction. So we can have, in Yolo County, be able to do that with various methods, and also work with the fire the fire departments and the talent and skill set that they have as well. It's going to take multiple skill sets, people, different groups to make it happen, I think. So, and some of it may just be connecting people together, working on liability issues, and getting the equipment they need. So it'll be interesting to be working on this. So I will keep this group updated as we move along in that. Whoever's interested, there'll be a whole, there's a whole other set of stakeholders, I think, that will be joining us on that kind of work.
Are you the main person that's going to help coordinate a prescribed burning association group?
I'm helping to develop the program. Right now we're in the middle of writing the proposal and learning from other, in other parts of the state that have been doing this for quite some time. Humboldt County has had a PBA, Prescribed Burn Association, for multiple years. It's a lot of work that's happened in the North State and Siskiyou County in that area. And also in the Central Coast has been trying it out for a few years. So there's a lot of good models, but certainly the scale up factor, from what I can see, there's just so much progress that we can make in this direction. And certainly, I know YOTD has some experience, their fire department has some experience with prescribed fire, but there's certainly a long ways to go, and a lot to do in that work. I don't think I answered your question. I'm helping to get it started, figure out what we need, and get the resources. We have staff who are super excited, who do field work for us. And I recognize your name, and I know the work you guys have done on your property. They're super excited to bring this tool into the toolbox here at the RCD. And then I know there's other groups that are also really excited about learning how to do this. So there's a lot around it. There's a lot around the planning, how to plan it, and then running it is a whole other, it's a whole other thing. So there's a lot to learn. There are people that know how to do it. We're going to bring in experts who've been doing this for a while, and build up that as much as we can.
Dr. Frank Lake did a nice presentation yesterday on cultural burning. I don't know if you saw that, but on a Zoom.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions? Tracy needs to leave, but Elizabeth is still here and Rochelle is here. Right now, Fire Safe Council starting time. Start a council, not a fire.
Are we adjourning?
It looks like it. So this will be posted on our website by this evening, folks. And Rochelle, I just got an email. Someone was looking for the link to our seminar or our webinar recording. Is that forthcoming?
Yes, it'll be forthcoming.
Okay. Yeah,
It takes a while to download, and I've been like drinking water from a fire hose. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll let him.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't attend, it was phenomenal. We had 139 people in attendance, 196 registered. And several of those that registered said, I couldn't make it for this reason, that reason. Do I have a link? Because I want to watch it. So I think it was a very successful webinar.
Definitely. More coming.
That's right. And we do have more coming. That's right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I want to make sure everyone knows as much as they can, since we do have Elizabeth here.
Okay.
If I may, I'd just like to close with everyone. Thank you. I'm glad to be able to help and serve a part of this group. I think there are a lot of good things to come. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Co-chair, vice chair.
Well, I guess we can decide.
And just to be clear, I have no idea what I signed myself up for. So.
Well, thank you, Chief Lopez, so much for your time, and thank